Now that we have these definitions kind of laid out between increasing marginal returns, decreasing marginal returns, and negative marginal returns, let's see what it kind of looks like on a graph. So first off, we talked about the marginal product. This marginal product is listed in this last column right here. If you look at this graph or this table, it lists input and then total output. That input and total output, that's that factor product model that we talked about in the very beginning, or that's that total output, that total product line that we originally drew in the last video. We have a relationship between input and output. And then we add this marginal product over here. And we say that as we increase our amount of inputs from 0 to 50 units, we have a 10 unit increase in output. Well, that 10 unit increase in output, that is our marginal product. That's that increase in the amount of output given a certain increase in inputs. So as we increase by, say, another 50 units of fertilizer, we increase from 50 to 100 pounds of fertilizer, we see that we increase our growth from 10 inches to 30, or from 10 pounds per acre to 30 pounds per acre in corn. That increase shows a 20 pounds increase per acre of corn, or bushels of acre. So as we go from 100 to 150 units, we see that the bushels per acre increases from 30 to 60. That is a 30 unit increase. So we're looking at the additional output associated with a 1 unit increase in input. So in this case, our 1 unit increase in input would be 50 pounds. So as we increase by 50 pounds, this marginal product shows us how much more we're gaining. So as we go down, as we increase from 50 to 200, or we increase by an additional 50 pounds, we gain 25 more pounds. As we increase from 250, for example, to 300 pounds by an additional 50 pounds, we gain an increase in our output of 15 units. Now, if we look back at this increasing marginal returns, as long as these numbers are increasing, we're in that increasing marginal returns area. And what that means as output increases at an increasing rate. So our output right here, our total output is increasing, but it's increasing at an increasing rate. As we add 50 more pounds, or as we add the first 50 pounds, you get 10 more units, or 10 more bushels per acre. If you add that second 50 pounds, you get 20 bushels per acre. So that rate is actually increasing. That rate of change is increasing. Then we get into this decreasing marginal returns. And it says that output increases, but at a decreasing rate. And we see that from after this 150 pounds, our output is still increasing. It is still growing. But what we find is that the rate at which it's growing is now falling. Whereas before it was going from 10 to 20 to 30 pounds of additional growth, now we're seeing that next 50 pounds only gets us 25 more units of growth. Or as we go to that next 50 pounds, that 200 to 250th pound, then we only get 15 more bushels per acre. And that rate is actually falling. So decreasing marginal return says that our total output still is increasing, but the rate at which it's increasing is actually falling. And that rate is shown by that marginal product. And then we have that negative marginal returns where that output actually decreases. So we can find that down here very easily where those numbers become negative. We see that after we have 500 pounds, that this plant actually begins producing less. So this land begins producing less amount of corn per acre, less amount of bushels per acre. So we see as we get down here into 550 and then 600 pounds, we actually produce less bushels per acre even though we're adding more input. So we see that we have the increasing marginal returns from this point all the way to 150 pounds. After 150 pounds, until we get down to about 550 to 500 pounds, we actually see this decreasing marginal returns. And then beyond that, we actually see these negative marginal returns down here.